cold.
This was just a terrific veteran performance from Jessie Pegula against an opponent who has been dangerous. Athletic player in Marta Kostyuk, but Pegula really showed the class that she has had for the last couple of years now, just moving inside the top 10, 3 in the world, and she played like it. Confident tennis, especially when she was under a little pressure, faced a lot of break points, Pegula did. And Kostyuk, she's certainly a player we expect to see more of on the bigger stages. She's a talented young player. This match, this may send her back to the drawing board a little bit to work on a few things. Pegula so impressive, very quietly kind of getting into the 4th round.
Yeah, she gets the job done with almost ruthless efficiency, almost without you noticing just how good she is. Kostyuk not able to challenge. Yes, there were 5 break points in the first set. She wasn't able to convert any of them. Another 2 late in that second that she couldn't convert, but Pegula on point from the start of the match. And Kostyuk, unfortunately for her, at the start of the match was a little off and never really regained.
Yeah, it's so hard when you lose that slight advantage, when you get behind early against such a quality opponent in Jessie Pegula. It's been fun to watch Pegula apply her craft and improve almost with every single match on these big stages.
Yep, she's gone through 3 rounds now and is yet to drop a set. Straight sets victories against all 3 of her opponents so far, and the only time she was really challenged was Alexandra Sasnovich for a tie-break for that second set in round 2. But she only dropped 1 game in her opening round match, and only dropping 2 games in this second round. We'll be able to hear from her very shortly out on court. Laura Robson there with us to have a word with the 3rd seed, Victoria Sear.
Jess, congratulations. You played each other not too long ago and the scoreline was much tighter then. What clicked for you today to win in just an hour and 5 minutes?
Yeah, I thought I just didn't give away a lot of free points. I was playing aggressive when I had to, but also playing smart. I definitely learned a lot from when I last played her to, you know, a better strategy, I think, going into the match. So that worked really well, I think, right from the start. And then, yeah, I think I wasn't serving great today, but I thought I served smart enough to get myself through some tough games.
And you know, coming out here, that Marta's such a dangerous player. She's going to hit a lot of winners. Did you make any adjustments, if any, in your game to be able to deal with that?
I think just the strategy of how I wanted to construct the points. I knew she'd hit some really flashy, like, amazing shots. She's a really great player. I think she's super talented and she's a great athlete. So I was just trying not to, you know, get frustrated. If I knew she was going to hit an amazing shot, I just kind of had to let it go and move on to the next point.
And I've just seen you shoving a couple of towels in your bag. How many have you got in there, and is there any to spare for us?
Not you. Everyone asks for towels, but I never give them away. But I changed colors. I didn't know that there was blue and red towels, so I exchanged 2 red.
So it's fine?
Yeah, I exchanged the 2 red ones for 2 blue ones. I don't know, it's really bad. Last match I was like dropping towels while I was walking off the court. I looked like I was hoarding all the towels.
It's fine if you are, we won't judge you. In the next one you play Krejcikova. It's another tough match. How much have you been able to watch of her the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've watched her quite a bit. She's, you know, had a great last couple years. I know last year she was a little bit hurt. It seems like she's kind of finding her confidence again. I've actually don't think I've ever played her in singles, just in doubles, so I have a little bit of an idea, but I'll definitely have to, you know, maybe watch some more of her matches and stuff like that. But at the same time, just happy to be through to the 4th round and just excited for the next match.
Good luck. Congratulations to Jess Pegula.
Great question about the towels. If there's any players who are a little bit short, we'll know where to go and find them.
Those towels are a hot commodity. You want to keep a few for yourself. You give them away as gifts. People love it. It's priceless.
Absolutely. Even more so when they come direct from a player. I mean, who needs to go to a shop and buy them?
Yeah, they're not the same when you buy them.
Exactly.
They don't feel the same. They don't smell the same. But Jessie Pegula, she deserves the towels she took and then some.
Whatever colors and however many she wants. Well, she is on top of her game at the moment, and there's a very good reason why she's a leading contender for this title, isn't there?
Yeah, she has just been terrific, and I'm going to let you read that.
Second week, here we come.
All
That
right.
was, I had to
That is
squint.
always a bonus. And, you know, when you have the numbers that Pegula had, she talked about her first serve. That could have been a little bit better at 54%, but she did everything else pretty impeccably. 12 winners, a positive differential with just 9 unforced, and you see it was littered with unforced errors for Kostyuk. 39, and that is just too many against such a solid opponent. She had a lot of opportunities, Kostyuk, but Pegula defended her serve well, capitalized on half of her break opportunities, and overall, it was just a really comprehensive match, a mature performance from Pegula, who was under some pressure at times. That match could have gotten a lot trickier, but she made it seem much easier because of how cleanly she played.
Yep, she made the point. She didn't believe she was serving as well as she could have done, so that's certainly an area she'll look to improve upon when she is in that 4th round match against the French Open champion from 2021 in Barbora Krejcikova, who's seeded 20 here. But there are some other big names to push through this draw, aren't there, in this section, not least when Madison Keys and Victoria Azarenka face off.
Yeah, I mean, some blockbuster matchups. Pegula and Krejcikova, the first ones into the 4th round. Pegula, of course, has some mixed doubles a little bit later, so nice to get on and off the court as quickly as possible. She's in a real rhythm, and playing all these matches may just keep her there.
And a quarterfinal potentially against Swiatek would be a mouth-watering one to watch. So Jessica Pegula, the 3rd seed, calm, businesslike, on top of her game, and she is into the 4th round of the Australian Open. 2 times previously a quarter-finalist here, and so she is through in straight sets. 6-love, 6-2.
We're ready for our next match here on Margaret Court Arena. Women's third round. Please welcome from Spain, Cristina Bucsa. And her opponent this afternoon, our number 1 seed from Poland, it's Iga Swiatek.
So the world number 1, the top seed in the women's singles draw, stepping out onto Margaret Court Arena for round number 3. She's the world number 1, taking on the world number 100, Cristina Bucsa of Spain, in this third round women's singles match. A beautiful day in Melbourne, a Friday afternoon. Looking forward to the great weather continuing into the weekend. What a great scene this is here. Let's have a look at how things sit right now in this third round. Win for Elena Rybakina, the 22nd seed, will face the winner of this afternoon's match right at the very top of the women's singles draw here at Australian Open 2023. This is also a section of the draw that features Jelena Ostapenko and Coco Gauff, who's currently in action on Rod Laver Arena, is a set to the good over there. So real opportunity. As Bucsa is ready to go. Iga now ready to go. Orly Tort is our chair umpire for the match.
We're going to do the coin toss. Okay, ladies, as you know, we have live electronic line calling, so all the calls are made by the system. The replay will be on the boards. You have the clocks in the 4 corners. The time starts after announce the score. For the towel, Cristina, please get the box with the blue sticker inside, and Iga, for you, the one with the red sticker. Okay, otherwise we have normal changeover and the net device. After the toss, yes, go ahead.
Can I actually ask for 4 white towels?
Sure, I'll do that for you. After the toss, we do a picture on that side with her, okay? Do you want Ayo or Ken Roswell? Ken Roswell. Ken Roswell. Receive. Okay, good match.
So Bucsa will receive first, and now the opportunity at the photo with the young Hot Shots player. They were out here hitting a little bit earlier today, and a great moment. That'll go up on the wall at home, I'm sure, as we get into the warm-up. I'm Peter Mikado. Great to be alongside Laura Robson for this one. And Laura, this, well, is an interesting matchup. Swiatek has been getting better and better as the tournament has been going on, as you would expect from a champion, but taking on a player who's making a bit of a rise up the rankings.
Yeah, and Swiatek's really played a mix of game styles. She played Niemeyer in the first round, who's a super heavy hitter from the back of the court. Then Camila Osorio, just, well, kind of does everything different. But, you know, coming through both matches and shaking off that loss that she had at the United Cup against Pegula, because overall she's still playing some excellent tennis, as you would expect from the number 1. But as is this player, Bucsa, having the tournament of her life, beating Bianca Andreescu in the last round, saving a match point, and gradually, slowly but surely, climbing up the rankings.
100 is her highest ranking, 4 ITF titles to her name. She came through the qualifying. You mentioned the tournament of her life. She didn't drop a set through the qualifying draw, so steamrolled her way through, but has had a couple of 3-setters. You mentioned that big win over Andreescu, and really these sort of tournaments for a player at this sort of ranking is just enormous, because you get that big rankings bump by making it through to the third round.
You do. This is her first time in a Grand Slam third round. She's qualified before a few times, qualified and won a round in New York, so doing one better here. But I just feel like she's lifted her game style. She's pretty good off both sides. She's got a great attitude, fantastic competitor, and we saw that in the last match. She never let herself get down, no matter what the scoreline was, and trying to create some weapons as well. As I watched the match the other day, I thought she'd really improved from when I saw her in New York playing Danielle Collins. So all good things for the Spanish player, but a very tough test today against the number 1 in the world.
Yeah, who's had an incredible set. It's hard to know where to start with Iga Swiatek, because we could be here right midway through the first set, running through the list of achievements. That's all you need to know. Ranked #1 in the world.
Only 21.
And a couple of majors in 2020, US Open. Roland Garros, won Roland Garros in 2020, winning all the big events, winning the Sunshine Swing. She's doing it all at the moment. She had that 37-match winning streak in a row. I better stop now, otherwise I will go on and on to talk about how good this player is for the sport. And it just continues to get better and better. And as you say, Laura, 21 years of age.
Still so young, and I think our expectations are so high these days just because we've seen her win an unbelievable amount of matches over the last year, and then when she plays just 10% off her best, you're kind of like, oh, what's happened? Well, the reality is you can't play her best every day, but she seems to do it very frequently.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember watching her. She won the girls' singles at Wimbledon, and I was calling that match, and I thought, here is a player who is ready-made to make the transition from junior tennis to senior tennis. And obviously, I know how hard that can be and how difficult it is for players. But this was a player who already had the game to take it up to the best in the world, and that rise has been rather sharp.
We've seen how much she's improved over the last couple of years. She's always been athletic, but she's been able to add way more power to her game. The serve has improved even from this time last year, where the second serve was kind of sitting up for a lot of players. That doesn't seem to be so much the case anymore. I think technically she's changed a few things here and there, but she's just got so much confidence at the moment, and you can just back her in the big points to come up with something special, or to at least be consistent. And that's what half the battle is, you know, coming up with just that one extra ball on the big points. And they did play each other way back in the day. 2016 UMAG. Things have changed significantly for Swiatek since then, but she did win that match.
Well, she was talking about the fact that her off-season was more about this idea of fine-tuning. So we're not going to do anything wholesale, but what we're going to do is just tighten up a few things, a couple of technical things, but it's not anything dramatic. And I mean, top player in the world, yes, you want to continue to improve, but you've got a lot that's going your way anyway. So we saw there the weather, 22 Celsius, ideal conditions.
It feels hotter than that.
Down on court? You were down on court before doing the interview?
I was down on court. I was courtside for just Pegula, and the sun is very strong today. So out on court, the court itself is taking a lot of heat. I thought it was playing much faster than we have seen the last few days when it's been overcast. And that's going to just help Iga Swiatek get some more grip on the forehand and serve.
Clock continuing to tick down. To get a bit of a move on here, Swiatek, because might get a little bit of a delay of match warning. The clock is at 0. Always important on the bigger courts to have the towels at either side of the towel boxes.
First set, Iga Swiatek to serve.
So let's get this one. What a way to start.
15 love.
Just had to double back a little bit here, but just great control anywhere in the court for Iga Swiatek.
Hold.
already opening up the court beautifully.
30 love.
And Bucsa's just going to have to do something a little different today. I think her natural game style's going to play into Swiatek's hands, where she likes to go plenty of balls cross court before she opens up the line. Needs to get perhaps a little more height, more depth. Easier said than done, though.
Love.
And holds to love.
Swiatek.
Talked actually after an opening round match about wanting to find a little bit more intensity. She certainly found that in round number 2, and I think we'll be wanting to make a statement here in round number 3.
Yeah, you want to show your dominance, especially if she's been keeping an eye on the scores and sees that Pegula's been winning so quickly the last couple of matches, and what can she do today?
It's almost like a tournament in 2 halves, really, we see with these top players. Try and get through that first week with minimum of fuss, maybe be pushed to a 6-4 or a 7-5 along the way, and then just reset and go again. It starts all over again in that second week.
Cristina Bucsa to serve.
It's going to be way too short, just set up nicely for Swiatek.
Love 30.
Lives in Spain, was actually born in Moldova. There have been a handful of players from Moldova over the years that made it to the top ranks.
Ball.
A tough start
Love
here.
40. Ball. Out. 15-40. Game, Swiatek.
So off to a great start. Iga Swiatek here.
Swiatek leads 2 games to love.
I think just an understandable amount of nerves in the beginning here from Bucsa. This is a tough encounter, and she hasn't played many matches at this level in stadiums like this with big crowds. It's going to take a fair few games to get used to it, and you could just see her doing the right thing here, keeping herself loose.
How much of an adjustment is it, Laura, from spending most of your time playing on the outside courts, obviously much smaller setups there, to being out on the wide open spaces of Margaret Court Arena?
Oh, you really realise how much the top players use the width of the court and the depth as well. You kind of find yourself covering every possible angle that you can because there's just that much more room. There was a point in the first game where Swiatek came forward, hit the backhand cross-court angle, and you could see how much it caught Bucsa off guard. She just wasn't used to someone cutting the time away from her that much.
Well, off to a flying start. Iga Swiatek, the world #1. 12 points to 1 so far, or 3 games to love here in this opening set.
3 games to love.
Pretty tough here if you're Bucsa and you sat down thinking, I've only won the 1 point.
And high hopes, you know, a lot of confidence coming in, and then that happens. But
you're doing amazing.
I hope, you know, that she'll settle to the task here, and hopefully, as you say, those nerves will just drop off a little bit and become accustomed to it. I mean, talk about these players and say, okay, player ranked 100 and building a career, but you don't get that exposure to playing the top 10, the top 20 in the world week in, week out when you're at this level. You might play at the WTA 250 level or back at the high ITF level, but it's only until you get that experience, isn't it, that you're playing them week in, week out to see where you're at, what you need to do.
Yeah, and you look at Bucsa's schedule over the last couple of months, and yes, she played US Open where she qualified and won a round, came unstuck against a great player, so played Danielle Collins there, lost in straight sets, but then had to drop again back down to the challenger level, played a lot of the 80Ks, 115Ks, and has done okay on the WTA 250 level, made a couple last 16s.
Ball.
The great thing for Bucsa after this one, no matter what the scoreline is, she can look at her 2022 season and say, I made a great stride. You know, I've made a 3rd round at a slam now. This time last year, she qualified, lost first round. So she knows she can do it. It's just about stringing together enough results to get the ranking high enough to not have to go through qualies every week. It takes so much out of you before you've even made it to the main draw.
I think the thing is, too, credit to these players.
15 and
I'm the
30.
best tennis player in the world, considering how many try and make their way. And say, okay, the ITF tour, it's that secondary tour. It is damn tough to try and get through there because everyone's going for exactly the same prize.
And people are always surprised at how good the level is in qualifying for slams. And a lot of the upsets over the first couple of days that we've seen, I haven't been surprised by at all, because you just take a look at how many matches they've won at the challenger level over the last few months, and it all comes together.
Out. 30-14.
You'll also see from the next 45 minutes or so as the shadow moving across the Margaret Court Arena. It's about that time of the afternoon. Making things potentially tricky for the players.
Advantage, Swiatek.
It was good defending from Bucsa. Forced Swiatek to play a fair few extra shots there. I like that she dipped into the slice off the wide backhand, keeping herself in this game.
Game.
It's all love now for the world number one. Named Polish Sport Personality of the Year
4 games to love.
2022.
Yeah, she was surprised by that because she beat out a pretty big-time Polish footballer.
Robert Lewandowski, and also Hubert Hurkacz, I think, was nominated along the way too. First tennis player since 1937 to win the award.
I think Hurkacz could understand.
100%.
I loved it at United Cup. He seemed like her biggest fan.
Yeah, understandably so.
He was kind of like, teach me how to win as much as you do.
Oh, it was a great attempt at changing things up for Bucsa, but Swiatek is all over the courts. Excellent movements. Just when you think you have control, the world number one comes in and just snatches it away from you. That would have felt good.
Swiatek could still improve her net game so much. We could see she knew that she needed to come forward, open the court well, maybe could have got a little more line on that backhand, but then just didn't really know where to cover.
beaten for depth again, and Bucsa just being worked over in that ad court.
15.
Swiatek's coach and the rest of the team, psychologist Daria. Hope she's got some sun cream on.
Keeps rolling along. 18 minutes on the clock. Iga Swiatek, the world number 1, leading 5 games to love here on Margaret Court Arena. Have a look at the women's singles draw where it's sitting at the moment. The winner of this match to play Elena Rybakina in the 4th round. Coco Gauff is likely to get through her match against Bernarda Pera. And Ostapenko, the 17th seed in this section, Pegula. Jessica we saw earlier today. Bora Krejcikova was particularly impressive on Rod Laver Arena.
There's some blinders coming up in the 4th round.
Blinders tonight. I think you're doing Madison Keys, Victoria Azarenka.
I am indeed. I can't wait for that one. That has got to be the match of the day.
Yep. Prime time billing as well. The breeze is up here at Margaret Court Arena. Beautiful Friday afternoon. It's almost knock-off time for the office workers in Melbourne. They'll be heading down here tonight. Still plenty of people heading towards record attendance again this year. There's the Bucsa camp. Serving now to stay in the set at love 5.
Just
doesn't need that.
Going Iga's way. I feel like Bucsa, when she gets herself in the rally, she's got a bit of belief, but off the serve, I just think she's under pressure on the 3rd shot. That's something that she's got to look at over the next couple of months if she wants to continue up the rankings. It just doesn't get enough leg drive on
Love 30.
She doesn't seem to really push through the shot.
So 3 set points here for Swiatek, but let's have a look at this serve, Laura.
Well, the ball toss is pretty decent, I think. Maybe that elbow gets a little low there, but the actual top half is okay, and I just don't feel like it comes through enough off the baseline. She lands almost where she takes off. And it just means that she's not going to get as many free points because the pop isn't there, and the momentum, and that follows you through to the next shot. She'll be looking for a shorter 3rd ball, trying to stay aggressive. If you can just get that extra positive energy at the start of the point.
Well, the world number one getting it done nicely so far. 23 minutes on the clock. But Camp Happy, it's 6 games to love. I think there's going to be a bathroom break, perhaps. Yep. So Iga Swiatek.
It's only been 23 minutes.
She's off again. Anyway, the good part is it's not too far to go to the bathroom here. Plenty of them underneath Margaret Court Arena, Rod Laver Arena. The numbers all pointing in one direction, Laura.
Well, the trouble here for Bucsa is you feel Swiatek has another gear or two to step up to if needed. The first serve percentage could come up from Iga. She'd want to be in the 60s, virtually where Bucsa is. But all the winners coming off the Polish side, and just a couple more unforced errors from Bucsa. Just couldn't get herself in that set. You see total points won. That's pretty tough to take. And hopefully she doesn't realise that she's only won 6 points, because this is a new start in set 2.
Well, Swiatek, I know that first serve percentage is down, but she's only lost the 1 point on either first or second serve. So getting through. The Bucsa now, she's left the court too for a bit of a break, and hopefully the initial butterflies are now starting to settle so she can get into it and make it a little more competitive for herself in this second set. But this is a player who's got eyes only for one thing, and that's holding up the Women's Singles Champions Trophy Saturday week. All the signs looking positive at the moment. Just here on the Tots in the umpire's chair. They are timed now with their bathroom breaks because, well, they were taking a long time.
I don't imagine too long will be needed after such a quick first set. No kit change, which is really when it starts to get into the double digits if you're not careful, but in and out, all good.
We'll get there.
We're not in a rush.
Nope, we've got nowhere to be. Go back to the United Cup just for a second. That match against Jessica Pegula and the emotion that she showed up, did that surprise you a little bit because of the fact that it was leading into a major? The fact that she had that sort of reaction after that result, considering she'd won her previous 3 matches?
Not at all. It's very normal for most of the players out on tour, men and women, to shed a tear after a loss. The only thing that is unusual is the fact that she stayed on the court for about 10 minutes after. Usually you kind of grab your bags, head off, and do it in the comfort of the locker room. But yeah, she just got caught up in the moment, I think, and it's very understandable. You come into a match like that and the pressure of playing for your country in that situation. She knew she had to win, and that was all on the line for Poland against the United States. So that always adds to it as well, which makes things harder. I've cried so many times that you don't even, it doesn't even register.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things.
So ready now for the second set here on Margaret Court Arena at the world number 1. Getting the job done nicely.
Swiatek to serve.
World number 100 coming through qualifying, Bucsa.
Love 15.
Step number 1 for Bucsa is to just try and get on the scoreboard. Very knowledgeable crowd. They'll start getting behind her. almost had to go for the spectacular Swiatek. The way she's playing, she almost made it.
Well, she did make it a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, at United Cup in the mixed doubles, around the net post. Great feel from Bucsa. I think she's going to have to throw in a few more of these just to keep Swiatek on her toes.
And throw in ones that are so precise like that too.
It's a difficult ask.
Thank you.
Turning defence into attack again, Swiatek. You feel if you're Bucsa, you're getting yourself into the rally. You were saying it before, Laura, but it just transitions so quickly away from you.
Well, the top players are so good at keeping their foot on the gas. You think you've got a chance, you've got to love 30, and just as quickly it gets away from you.
Let for service.
Smart serve coming through the court into that tricky area where the shadow is. Super difficult as the returner to find it in that sunlight.
Just keeps rolling along. It's opening game of the second sets.
First game,
this match to
second
play
set.
Elena Rybakina, the 22nd seed, with a 3-set win over Danielle Collins on Kia Arena earlier today. Tennis balls for Bucsa.
And needs to utilise them now. Let's try and get this serve speed up a little.
Clever from Swiatek. Could see that Bucsa was coming. That drifting ball.
Love 15.
Bucsa knows just to put a little bit extra on it because Swiatek will gobble that up quickly. Her fastest serve actually is 157, averaging around 151 kilometres. Bucsa in the match thus far.
$15. 30-15.
That's a good play. Just go wide on the serve, get Swiatek out of the court, get her on the move, and then back behind so that she's caught up in the swing.
Let for service. Out. 30 on.
Too good. See a position in the court. Swiatek just controlling things again.
Out. Deuce.
Serve caught the line.
There's that width you were talking about earlier, Laura. Does it to perfection.
Advantage.
Too good.
Swiatek.
The forehand earlier that she managed to dip in down the line, it looked like it was going wide, but it's got so much spin that it just catches the inside of the sideline.
Ball.
Eight games in a row now for Swiatek. 36 minutes on the clock.
Swiatek leads 2 games to love.
I think that new playlist is working, Laura. She mentioned after a match the other day talking about all just not doing the same routines at the majors because it can be a bit monotonous, and talked about, no, I've changed up my playlist. She had the same music playlist for the past 2 years. Change it.
And that old playlist she can never listen to again, because how many times would she have heard those songs by now?
Ball.
That's a clever serve.
50 love.
Tennis players make me laugh because they'll swear up and down that they're not superstitious, and then you'll see them at the same restaurant on the 7th consecutive night. I was just as bad though.
I'm glad you're including yourself in that.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of self-awareness.
She also talked about being caught in the storms the other night, and I'd imagine that walking trail would probably be similar as well, that she'd be doing each night.
led for service. Ball.
Yeah, too much power, too much control.
40 love.
As we look at the Swiatek serve.
Yeah, to me it just seems like she's adjusted a few things behind the head here. She used to keep really close on the back of her neck. There's a bit more pronation now. She's able to flatten it out much more than she was this time last year, whereas majority of the time a second serve slice.
$40-15. Game.
It just keeps rolling along. World number 1, 6-love and now 3-love in the second set.
3 games to love.
I like that she's having the energy gel here, preparing for a 3-setter, just in case.
Just if needed. If it does go the way we think it's going, do you think Swiatek will hit a few more balls this afternoon on a practice court?
I wouldn't say so. I think she's hitting the ball beautifully out here.
She'll still do the nightly walk though, right?
100%.
Speaking of nightly walk, how's this for a Friday afternoon in Melbourne? Bridge connecting the CBD of Melbourne to Melbourne Park on the way to Birrarung Ma, so the parkland's right next to the Yarra. Lots of fans coming in for the night session this evening.
Ball. Love 15.
Second double faults for the match. Bucsa. Followed up by a first ace.
$15-30.
Sure, take plenty out of this week, getting through the 3 rounds of qualifying, not dropping a set there. Big win over Bianca Andreescu. And there's her dad, who's her coach. Well, there's a lot of notes being written down on the page. There's a lot of positives to be gained. Not only, obviously, make it to the third round here, the rankings jump that will occur, but also getting exposure to the top players in the world, taking them on. And it's 4-love now for Swiatek.
Swiatek leads 4 games to love.
Disheartening here. Just wants to get on the board.
Well, at least they can be smiling, not just on their hats, on that hat there, but they're trying to keep things positive.
Well, look, it's a big step up and it's a big chunk of prize money that she's going to take away, and it's going to set her up for the rest of the year to be able to spend more on physio, fitness, all the things that the top players have access to.
Led for service.
Third ace for the match.
Hitting her spots nicely. And you could definitely say that Bucsa's just not putting any pressure on the return position, but nice mixing up with the slower slider out wide on the juice side and the flat tee.
Bold.
Bucsa trying to be aggressive there. You see stepping in on that second ball. Just jumped up at her. Still trying to do all the right things.
Just really hasn't been close on Swiatek's service games. The best one was beginning of the set where she had love 30.
Bold.
Out.
40 love.
Oh, too good. Serving so well, Iga Swiatek. A game away now from a spot in the fourth round. It's Swiatek 6-love, 5-love here on Margaret Court Arena.
You've got to admire how Swiatek's 6-love, 5-love up and still so intense on every single point. Stepping up to the baseline with real intention.
For Bucsa, everything going into this service game, just can't imagine the feeling of 6-love, 6-love. No matter what the situation might be.
Time.
So Cristina Bucsa serving to stay in the match, serving to get on the board. It's been a tough day for the world number 100 against the world number 1. And there's the crowd getting into. They want to see more tennis. They want to see more from this match. Good depth on that forehand from Bucsa.
Fault. Out. 30 love.
Here we go. Let's get excited.
Well, if she does happen to win this game, the roar will be huge. Probably on a par with Swiatek winning the match.
Such a good crowd.
40 love.
Bucsa's going to have to go after it.
40-15.
There's Dad, who's a coach, looking on, taking notes. It just seems like the situation,
40-30.
points at this, just a little challenge here for Swiatek to make sure that doesn't happen.
Wants the double bagel.
Yeah.
I do wonder what her dad is writing down and whether it's something along the lines of Swiatek is good.
Very good. There you go. Dad enjoying it too. The biggest roar of the afternoon here at Margaret Court Arena, I think.
Swiatek leads 5 games
It's a
to 1.
tough situation, but crowd showing its appreciation. She's on the board, Bucsa. And now Swiatek is serving for the match. Hey, here we go.
Some form late in the game. At this point, you might as well try anything. Even on that one, Bucsa coming in inside the baseline for the return. And she's probably thinking now, why wasn't I doing this 50 minutes ago? You just get so wrapped up with how good your opponent is that you forget to try and do your own game.
I only imagine walking out. You mentioned that she might have been feeling a little bit nervous. Imagine her head spinning with so many different things to take in here. On the big stadium court, world #1. Big moment at a major, 3rd round, never been here before.
30 all.
The winner of this match to play Elena Rybakina in the 4th round. Now, 54 minutes on the clock.
40,
we have a match points
30.
for the world number 1. All business for the world number 1. Iga Swiatek with her eyes on the prize, lifting the trophy here at Melbourne Park for the first time. Swiatek dominant, 6-love, 6-1 in 55 minutes and through to round 4 of the Australian Open.
Well, she was just never really tested today, Swiatek. She just had something extra on just about every shot, more pace, more athleticism around the court, and most importantly, more belief. Bucsa just never really thought she was going to win that, did she? And she came out with some understandable nerves, but couldn't get herself going today. Still a great tournament for her, reaching her first Grand Slam 3rd round, and she will be happy with the ranking points, the money, and the atmosphere, and just a lot of good memories.
Yeah, and a platform to build on as well. We saw the coach and dad taking notes, and it's nice from Swiatek as leaves the court. They're still smiling, they're still enjoying the experience, and hopefully they'll see that a lot more in 2023.
It definitely leaves you wanting more when you play on a court like this against a top player. But Iga just cruising through that one, love and 1 in under an hour.
Ideal, really, isn't it? Building a major.
Getting better and better as the tournament goes on, which is always what you want to see from the top players.
The crowd enjoyed this thing. It's great to see so many Polish fans here as well, the fan club building. It's great to see Hubert Hurkacz also in action, playing tonight. But our focus is on the world number 1, Iga Swiatek. A magnificent performance. Let's hear what she has to say. She is down on court with our very own Nick McCarville.
Iga, congratulations. Under an hour on court today. We reopened the Swiatek bakery. We had a bagel, we had a breadstick, but all due respect, you were just on another level today. How in flow, how much did you feel your game today out there on court?
Well, for sure, my main goal was to just, keep going and don't really look at the score, because I saw how Cristina can play when she played her last round. So I knew she can be solid, so I didn't really want to let her come back. And I'm glad that I was, really disciplined and just focused, on my tactics. And I felt like I'm a little bit in a flow, so that was nice.
When you're in a match like that and the flow is going, what's on your mind? So how do you make sure that your mind isn't wandering and that you're focused on every single, not only point, but every single shot?
Well, I just try to, focus always on the same stuff, like pretty technical stuff. So it doesn't matter if I'm winning or losing, it's always the same. So that kind of helps me to, stay disciplined. And that's all basically. I don't try to overanalyze it.
It's your 4th year in a row into the 4th round. I think it means a little bit different for you, versus what it did 3 years ago. How do you see that stage? Yeah, you can applaud for that, into the 4th round. What does it mean to you at this point in your career to be at that stage of a major?
A lot, you know. I always wanted to be that kind of player who's consistent, you know, so I'm pretty happy that I'm kind of achieving that goal. And also, I don't know, I just remember how it was a couple of years ago when I was in the 4th round. I was already exhausted, and right now I feel like this is the right place to be, so hopefully I'm gonna continue, you know, playing solid, and hopefully I'm going to play more matches here. But yeah, I'm really happy with the result. You know, it's the first Grand Slam of the season, so you never know what's going to happen. And I just wanted to, implement all that stuff that I've been working on during preseason. So I'm happy that I'm going to have another chance.
Well, that next chance is against Elena Rybakina, the Wimbledon champion. It's our first meeting between two reigning Slam champs, WTA champs, in a couple years. How do you see that match? You've played her a couple years ago, but she's a tough one, isn't she?
I mean, we played actually like a couple of weeks ago in Dubai, so, but it wasn't a WTA tournament, it was an exhibition, so we know each other pretty well. We also played in juniors, but, you know, we both made such a progress that it doesn't really matter what happened a couple of years ago. You have to kind of, I don't know, be ready for any match. For me, it doesn't really matter who it is against. For sure, tactically, I'm gonna, you know, prepare the game against Elena, but I just want to stay focused on myself and keep going.
There's a lot made, obviously, always about the Greek fans in Australia, about the Serbian fans, but there's some Polish fans in the house today. And Iga, they follow you around the world. How much do you feel their support wherever you are? At the US Open, at the final, there were so many Polish fans. And here again, how do you feel? And do you hear the Polish when you're out on court?
I do hear it. I heard it today when someone was screaming about the bakery, but I don't want to hear stuff like that during the match, guys, so help me be focused. But yeah, I really appreciate the support, and obviously there are a lot of Polish people there everywhere. They're coming on my matches, so stay for Hubi, because he's playing here, right?
I think so. Oh yes, I'm told yes.
So yeah, let's cheer for Hubi now. That's our main goal today.
Well, you've become a superstar in Poland, but you actually were quite open. The Players' Tribune just a couple weeks ago, you wrote about being an introvert, actually having a hard time doing stuff like this. Once you're a Grand Slam champion, so much media asks and interviews and questions like that. How have you taken on that part of your career where now you're the best tennis player in the world, but you're also learning to take everything in stride and all the attention as well?
Well, I kind of learned how to do that, and I've been working with Daria Abramovich, my psychologist, for a long time, so she really helped me, you know, to get a little bit more open. And actually, I feel like doing these interviews and media, it's like part of the job, so I also wanted to feel comfortable doing that. So I learned, and actually, since I was even like 14, I had some media stuff to do, so I really had a chance to do it step by step, and I feel like it's not, you know, I don't know, having any bad influence on my time or whatever. I feel comfortable doing it, so yeah. Good. But it doesn't mean that we have to keep going, so.
Okay, you're done. How about it, everyone? Iga Swiatek, she's moving on to the 4th round of the Australian Open.
I need to improve my Polish, Laura, because I didn't know they were talking about the bakery and the breadsticks and the bagels out there, the fans. Yeah, just marshalling them, telling them what they need to cheer.
I'm not sure what bakery products they were here for, because they were equally as happy when Bucsa finally won a game.
Yes.
So they wanted a mixture, the bagels and the breadsticks. But, you know, fantastic to hear from Iga. You could just tell how focused she was today, how much it meant to her to get through that one quickly and keep things moving on into the 4th round. And things only get harder.
Yep, well, we're backing up. It's an interesting section of the draw. We do have players who have won majors in this section of the draw coming up, and one that I think is knocking on the door.
Oh, let's go Hubi.
Yeah.
So cute.
We had them at the United Cup. We also had Agnieszka Radwanska, who was there too. There you go, Hubi. As we take a look at the numbers for this one, and very much one-way traffic, Laura, not a lot to say.
Very much. You just have to look at that total points won, and that tells you exactly how today went for Swiatek. 52-19 more winners, less untossed errors. The first serve percentage may be something that she could be looking at before the next match, but she just wasn't under any pressure. So she was able to strike freely, and we could see that on the forehand. And yeah, just one of those days where things came together for her.
Yeah, did it nicely. Under an hour too, 55 minutes, one of the